Who were Adam-Eve's daughters? Shocking truth about Cain's wife revealed at midnight. The clock struck midnight, and the air crackled with anticipation. A question loomed in the shadows, one that whispered in hushed tones through history: who were Adam and Eve's daughters? Just when the world thought it had all the answers, a startling revelation pierced the silence. It sent shockwaves through the realms of the known and unknown, igniting a spark of curiosity that no one could ignore. Eyes widened, hearts raced. The truth was unraveling like a tightly wound spring. The first strange piece in this puzzling narrative comes from ancient scripture unearthed in a dusty library, containing a reference to hidden daughters, whose fates are shrouded in mystery. The parchment described them as luminous figures, glowing with ethereal light, drawing the gaze of even the most hardened skeptics. Could they have been the keepers of secrets that could change everything? That thought hung in the air like an echo, unsettling yet tantalizing. But as rumors of this discovery spread, whispers grew louder in the shadows. People began to ask, what was their story? The tension built as those who sought answers found more questions. Some claimed that one of these daughters could have been the fabled wife of Cain, but others warned that such tales could be more dangerous than they appeared. A man named Eli, a scholar clad in dusty robes, hurried into town with news that turned the collective mind dizzy. "You won't believe what I found," he called out, his hands trembling with excitement. "It's not just whispers, it's proof, fragments of a past they tried to hide." The crowd leaned in, anticipatory gasps escaping their lips, mingling with the desperate need to know. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With every passing second, the atmosphere thickened, almost palpable. The wild stories surrounding these sisters turned fantastical. Tales spun of lost prophecies and awful betrayals, of power struggles that could shatter the very fabric of faith the world clung to. Eli took a deep breath, revealing a leather-bound tome filled with entries that hinted at dark rituals and esoteric knowledge that could point to the terrifying truth of Cain's wife. What if she didn't just emerge from Eden? What if she was crafted from the whispers of ancient fears, taking form from the shadows of forgotten history? The answers lay just beyond the rim of known reality, ready to shake the foundations of belief and reshape everything. As the crowd gasped in anticipation, eyes darted toward Eli, leaving them ideally poised to embark on a journey into the unspeakable secrets that had long been buried. What lay in wait was a truth so shocking, it could rewrite the understanding of humanity's very roots. Eli stood at the center of the chaos, heart pounding like a war drum. "Listen, everyone," he shouted, struggling against the rising tide of anxious murmurs. "What I found in that dusty library isn't just history. It's a thread woven into the tapestry of our existence. It connects us all." The weight of his words pressed heavily in the night air. In the dim glow of the flickering lanterns, faces turned toward him, curiosity mingling with apprehension. What secrets had been hidden so long that they threatened to tear the very fabric of faith? A shiver ran down Eli's spine as fragments of forbidden knowledge danced in his mind. "This tome," he continued, voice thick with an urgency that crackled with energy. "It speaks of a daughter named Lila, illuminated by a divine glow. She bore a truth too powerful for any mortal. They say she held the key to creation itself." Gasps broke out like fireworks in the crowd, eyes wide with disbelief. A shadow flickered in the corner of Eli's vision. He turned, and there stood a woman, her features obscured by the dark cloak she wore, yet her presence felt dangerously electric. "Eli," she hissed, her voice barely above a whisper, "you tread on dangerous ground." Lila was more than just a child of Adam and Eve, she was a harbinger of chaos. The crowd fell silent, caught between fear and the allure of knowledge. Eli took a step closer to this mysterious figure, heart racing. "Who are you?" he demanded. I am Selah, keeper of the lost truths, she replied, pulling back her hood to reveal piercing eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within. Lila was not just Cain's wife, she was entangled in a web of darkness that spans eons. You must understand her existence was a curse, one that could unleash unspeakable horrors upon this world. Eli felt a chill creep up his spine. Could the daughters of Adam and Eve truly hold such power? As he stared into Selah's intense gaze, the weight of her warning resonated within him. The truth he had so desperately sought was revealing itself as a double-edged sword. Lila's lineage continues, Selah said with palpable urgency. She left behind a legacy marked by bloodshed, and there are those who will stop at nothing to reclaim that power. They are watching, waiting. You have stirred the spirits and awakened shadows that should have remained silent. An unease rippled through the crowd, worry etched on every face. What are you saying? Someone cried out, desperation creeping into their voice. What must we do? The only path ahead may lead to ruin, Selah warned. But if you truly seek the truth of these daughters, you will have to confront the darkness of your own past. The answers lie in the uncharted depths of your own lineage. Look within, and you may find what you seek or be consumed by it. A murmur of confusion cascaded through the crowd. Eli felt the excitation of discovery mixing with overwhelming dread. Could they really go deeper into this mystifying riddle, even if it led them closer to madness? Selah's cryptic words left them all teetering on the brink, caught between enlightenment and destruction. The air pulsed with tension as the crowd exchanged fearful glances, their desires for knowledge now shadowed by a looming dread. Follow me, Selah beckoned, turning on her heel and taking swift strides into the night. The truth awaits, but so do the monsters. The need to know surged within Eli like an electric current. Driven by curiosity and fear, he felt the impulse to chase after her. Was there no escape from this labyrinth of shadows and secrets? The night held its breath, and for those gathering there, the question echoed, would they dare walk into the unknown or turn back before it was too late? The night was thick with uncertainty as Eli sprinted after Selah, his pulse racing like a wild horse. Shadows stretched ominously around him, the moonlight filtering through the clouds like silver knives. What awaited them in the darkness? The crowd, a mix of thrill-seekers and the terrified, hesitated at the edge of the forest. He could sense their fear creeping over them like a heavy fog. Selah moved swiftly, her cloak billowing like a dark omen. Eli caught glimpses of her face, a mask of determination and something else, regret. He struggled to keep pace, adrenaline pushing him forward. Back in the clearing, murmurs grew restless. Would they follow or stay behind, shackled by dread? Selah. He called out, desperation creeping into his voice. What do you know about Lila's legacy? She paused, glancing back, her expression unreadable. Legacy is both a gift and a curse, Eli. It binds its holder to the past in ways unimaginable. Her words sent a chill spiraling through him. What had he unearthed in that library? As they plunged deeper into the heart of the woods, trees whispered secrets among themselves, their branches like fingers curling in warning. Eli felt a gnawing thought, was he ready to confront this darkness, this bloodied line he was carrying? Suddenly, Selah stopped. Listen. The truths we seek are not without consequence. She leaned in, her voice dropping to a near-silent murmur. Lila's descendants, do you understand? They've woven their lives into history, lurking in shadows. You must be wary, they won't welcome your quest. Eli peered into the distance, the pathway twisted like a serpent into an unfathomable abyss. What do you mean? He asked, fear clenching his throat. Who are they? They are the descendants who carry Lila's essence, a power that draws both the faithful and the damned. Some seek to protect it, others yearn to exploit it. He could feel the weight of his own existence now, the blood of Lila pulsing through him as if it were a curse. Eli abruptly halted, breathless and daunted. Each word of Selah's tightened a grip around his chest. You're saying I'm one of them? Selah's gaze bore into him, unyielding. Perhaps, but you must decide what that means. Power can be intoxicating, Eli. It can corrupt. The sounds of the woods enveloped them, and the air thickened with tension. A distant rustling caught Eli's ear, followed by an eerie silence that set his hair on edge. The forest felt more alive now, watchful as if waiting for a signal to strike. "Come," Selah urged, regaining his attention. "We haven't too much time. There are eyes on us." They moved in silence, each step into the abyss rendered louder by the uncertainty trembling beneath their feet. Darkness pressed in, but Eli felt the urge to press on, so much was at stake. Knowledge was a powerful force, but so was fear. As they emerged into a clearing, a dilapidated structure loomed ahead, a stone circle overgrown with vines, its entrance yawning like the maw of a beast. Eli hesitated, sweat dripping down his brow. "What is this place?" Selah's expression darkened. A site of ancient rituals, the heart of Lila's legacy. Dread washed over Eli. Would this thing, whatever it was, reveal the answers he yearned for, or would it pull him into a darker fate? Before Eli could process further, a low growl echoed from the shadows of the stones. Selah stiffened, eyes darting. "Run!" she hissed, adrenaline firing through her veins. Eli's heart raced as they sprinted towards the stone circle, the very ground beneath them quaking with the weight of unseen forces unleashed. Was this their refuge or the gateway to nightmares? The fear electrified him, and he dared to glance back once. Their pursuers, cloaked figures emerging from the shadows, moved with unnatural speed, hungry and relentless. With every step, Eli could almost hear Lila's legacy whispering in his ear. The truth was near, yet so was danger. But as fear took hold, one question resounded above all: when did the hunt for the truth turn into a fight for survival? Eli's breath came in ragged gasps as he raced towards the stone circle, heart pounding violently in his chest. Behind him, the cloaked figures followed with an eerie fervor, their growls intertwining with the rustle of the leaves. Shadows leapt menacingly around them, a palpable darkness that felt alive, ready to strike. "What do they want?" Eli shouted, trying to keep his voice steady despite the fear clawing at him. "What do they want from us?" Selah didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached the entrance of the stone circle first and turned, her eyes fierce and filled with urgency. "They want what you carry," she said sharply. "You must understand." But before she could finish, a figure lunged from the shadows, slender and swift like a wolf. Eli grabbed Selah, pulling her aside just in time as the figure hit the ground beside them with a thud. The air filled with the tension of barely restrained violence. Eli's instincts screamed to flee, but curiosity rooted him to the spot. In the dim light, Eli could see the attacker, an athletic woman with fierce, icy eyes. Her cloak flowed around her like smoke as she pushed herself up, regaining her stance. The circle around them felt charged, like a brewing storm. "Get away from him!" she hissed, eyes darting nervously as she took an aggressive stance. "He's one of them," Selah shouted back, defiance sparking in her voice. "We don't have time for this." Eli's mind raced. "One of who?" The words tore from his throat, a mix of accusation and fear. "What are you talking about?" The woman glared at Selah before focusing on Eli, a smirk creeping onto her lips. "You must be Eli, Lila's blood. You have no idea the power you wield." Her tone shifted. "And yet, you're naive. The legacy you carry is a beacon for the damned." "What does that even mean?" Eli demanded, anger pushing back against the rising tide of fear. The darkness of the woods swirled around them, but inside that clearing, it felt almost comforting, like a prophecy waiting to be fulfilled. The woman chuckled, dark and menacing. "You think your quest for truth will save you? The roots of Lila's legacy run deep, entwined with ambition and bloodshed. I am here to offer you the chance to embrace it." The ground shook beneath their feet, an unsettling echo that sent a thrill of panic racing through Eli. "What kind of chance?" Before she could respond, a howl erupted from deeper within the woods, shattering the fleeting moment of calm. Instantly, the atmosphere shifted. The cloaked figures emerged in greater numbers, their silhouettes looming with malice. Selah! Eli shouted, adrenaline surging. What do we do? She glanced around frantically, her eyes wide with fear. We have to enter the circle. It's our only chance. Without question, they sprinted into the stone formation, weaving through the ancient stones that loomed tall and foreboding above them like guardians of an unspeakable past. Just as they crossed the threshold, a blinding light filled the space, expanding from the center of the circle. Eli staggered back, momentarily disoriented. A voice echoed all around them, low and commanding. You seek the truth, and the truth seeks you, Eli. The legacy will determine your fate, spinning out threads of choice and consequence. Eli could feel darkness swirling, pressing in, all the while fighting against the gravity pulling him deeper. Was he truly ready for this? For the responsibilities that came with Lila's legacy? The path split before him, daredevil or coward, seeker or shielded. Before the light grew too intense, he felt Selah's hand grip his shoulder firmly. Whatever happens next, you have to remember you're more than just a part of this legacy. But Eli could barely digest her words as the ground violently shook beneath them, walls of light stretching outward toward the surrounding woods. Shadows danced hungrily, and a rift suddenly opened in the air. Eli's heart raced. What lay beyond that threshold? A question crept into his mind: could the truth they seek be worse than they could possibly imagine? As the moment stretched, reality rippling underfoot, Eli inhaled sharply, daring to step forward into the unknown. What awaited him on the other side of that rift? Would it be a chance to seize the power within him, or would it bring the darkness crashing down? Eli stepped into the rift, the light engulfing him like a tidal wave. He felt it pull at his very essence, tugging him in every direction at once. As he closed his eyes against the brightness, he could still feel Selah's presence beside him, her hand steady against his shoulder, a lifeline in chaos. When the brilliance faded, he found himself standing on a precipice overlooking a dark realm. The air was thick with a chilling fog, and the ground beneath him trembled softly, as if alive. The horizon stretched out endlessly, with jagged mountains silhouetted against a sky smeared with ominous reds and blacks. Eli blinked, trying to make sense of where he was. He could hear the distant whispers of the cloaked figures, a haunting echo rattling through the air like a forgotten warning. This is the underworld, the woman's voice materialized in his mind, steady and knowing. A remnant of Lila's power, where the sins of the past linger. Selah! He gasped, turning to search for her, panic rising sharply. His heart raced as he spotted her, standing confused, her eyes darting around the unrecognizable expanse. I'm here. She called, her voice trembling slightly. But what is this place? What are we supposed to do? Eli hesitated. A legacy, a choice. The words felt heavy on his tongue. Just then, shadows slithered out from behind the rocks, curling toward them like tendrils reaching out for warmth. Something terrifying lurked in that fog. Stay close! He shouted, but as he reached for her arm, the ground beneath Selah's feet cracked wide open, swallowing her scream as she plummeted into the abyss. Selah! Eli lunged forward, but the edge crumbled away, and all he could do was fall to his knees, panic spilling from him in desperate gasps. No! No! His heart pounded as he fought the urge to dive after her. He had already lost so much. The shadows crawled closer, cold fingers of fear wrapping tightly around his throat. You need to wake up, a soft voice whispered through the chaos, one he didn't recognize. You must confront the truth within yourself. Who are you? Eli shouted. What do you want from me? You have already begun, the voice replied, smooth and haunting. Accept the weight of your legacy. Embrace the darkness. Only then can you save her. Torn between the weight of the unknown and the urge to fight, Eli could feel that undeniable pulse, the throbbing pull of the legacy inside him. It yearned to consume him, to act, but he couldn't give in. Selah's face pushed to the front of his thoughts, her determination, her hope. He couldn't lose her not like this. Tell me where she is. He roared, feeling the depth of his being tremble with power. The shadows paused, surprised by the ferocity of his words that in an instant, the landscape shifted again. The darkness receded, and Eli found himself standing before a massive stone tablet illuminated by an ethereal light. Intricate carvings covered its surface, pulsating with energy. One carving captured his attention: a family tree, roots twisting into the void, and branches extending toward a distant light. Find her, the voice commanded, stronger now, as though echoing from the tablet itself. You are destined to make a choice that will shape your legacy and hers. Eli reached out, hesitating as he placed his palm against the stone. A jolt of energy coursed through him, visions spinning out in chaotic patterns, glimpses of Selah, fierce and resolute, battling cloaked figures, of himself, wielding power, standing at the crossroads of fate. But then static cracked like thunder, and dark images flooded his mind: suffering, loss, the weight of deceit. The legacy that offered so much also threatened to consume everything he loved. Brace yourself, the voice urged, and Eli felt a new wave swell within him. Darkness and light danced at his fingertips, but fear clawed at his heart. What choice would he make? Was he ready to embrace what he'd been destined for? And if he failed, would Selah be lost forever? As the urge to strike surged within him, Eli's breath froze in his throat. The echoes of time rang in his ears, reminding him of the potential outcome. Darkness loomed, and light flickered in the distance. What was the cost of wielding such power? With a surge of desperation, he shouted into the emptiness, "I'll find her." But the stone tablet cracked, sending shockwaves around him as shadows leaped forward. What awaited him in the abyss? Would he reclaim Selah, or seal their fates forever? The crack in the stone sent vibrations coursing through Eli's bones, an electric warning that the world around him was shifting again. The shadows, now emboldened, surged like a tide, eager to swallow him whole. Run! He screamed to himself, tearing away from the tablet. Each step felt like wading through quicksand, dragging him deeper into the heart of darkness. The whispers intensified, a cacophony of despair, clouding his thoughts. In every direction, he could sense them closing in. He thought of Selah, alone and frightened. The image propelled him forward, each heartbeat a reminder of what was at stake. He stumbled across the uneven ground, barely keeping his footing. The air grew colder, sharper like icy knives slicing through his skin. Selah! Eli shouted, his voice rising above the din. It felt futile, but hope was a flame he couldn't let extinguish. Where are you? His insides twisted as he pressed on, into the depths of the underworld. Shadows loomed ominously, whispering secrets of his lineage, dark truths he had never faced. Was this what the voice meant? Was he to confront the sins of the past? Each question slammed into him like a battering ram. Suddenly, he halted. Ahead, he saw a flicker, a shimmering light against the murky backdrop. Eli peered closer, narrowing his eyes. Was it real? Or just another illusion designed to mislead him deeper into despair? His heart raced. He had to find out. That he rushed toward it, the light growing brighter with each step. As he drew near, he felt a warmth, a stark contrast to the chilling fog wrapping around him. The whispers subsided into an eerie silence, leaving only the sound of his ragged breaths echoing in the void, but as he reached the source, the vision of Selah materialized before him, ethereal yet distressed. Eli! She gasped, her voice a mere whisper of hope. You have to hurry, they're coming for you. Who? He called out, unable to comprehend what was unfolding. He reached for her, desperate, but something pushed him back, an unseen force tethering them apart. You don't understand, Eli. The shadows, they're not just here for me. They want you. Her eyes glistened with tears as she spoke, intensity radiating from her every word. Every moment you linger, their power grows stronger. Eli clenched his fists, the weight of her fear hitting him like a freight train. I'm not leaving you, Selah. I won't abandon you like my father did. She interrupted, sorrow-laced urgency flashing across her features. Eli flinched. The pain of her words cut deeper than any shadow ever could. You need to find the truth. It's the only way to save us both. The legacy, it's tied to everything. Her voice faltered slightly. You have to face it. As her words hung in the air, the ground trembled violently. The shadows began to twist and writhe, growing chaotic, hungry for the light she emitted. I can't, Eli began, but Selah's expression hardened, her resolve igniting. Yes, you can. Embrace it. You have the power to confront what was hidden. But a new pulse surged through the ground, and Eli felt it drain from him. Inevitably, he was being sucked into darkness. He grasped at the air, crying out to Selah, no. Wait. The light flickered once, dimming as the shadows reached toward him with relentless, clawing hands. Desperation surged in his chest. In that moment, he could either succumb to them or rise against everything he had feared. Tell me how. He yelled, his voice cracking under the strain. As Selah's expression hardened into one of fierce strength, she shouted back, accept your legacy. It echoed in his mind, as the shadows closed in, swallowing her light. The darkness reached across, and Eli's heart pounded like a war drum. Could he really confront the truth? The whispers swirled, all around him taunting, beckoning to his deepest insecurities, and then he saw the family tree again, flickering in his mind. Names and faces emerged from the fog, twisted and tormented, reminding him of their burdens. Would he be able to uncover the secrets that bound them, with resolve coursing through him? Eli channeled everything he feared and loved into a single thought. He braced himself as shadows coiled tighter around him. Sudden clarity pierced the chaos, the moment of truth was close, and Eli understood this was only the beginning. What lay beyond the veil of shadows? Would he embrace the darkness to protect the light he cherished, or would he lose Selah forever? Eli felt the darkness tighten around him, a cold grip that threatened to pull him into an abyss from which he might never return. His heart raced, each thud echoing through the silence that had swallowed Selah's light. Accept your legacy. Her voice rang in his mind, a beacon piercing the fog of fear. He could feel it, the weight of generations pressing down on him, secrets and truths begging to be uncovered. Legacy, he whispered to himself, as if trying to summon courage from the very word. He focused on the flickering family tree that danced in his thoughts, each name a ghost from history reaching out, pleading to be recognized. What if they were trying to help him? What if the answers lay in their stories? As Eli steeled himself, the shadows surged forward with a ravenous hunger, shrieks and wails emanating from them like a haunting chorus. The ground trembled beneath him, a warning of the fury of the past unleashed in the present. He could feel their desperation and urge to drown him in despair. Selah, hold on. He called, though the words faded quickly into the noise. The shadows began to twist, a mesmerizing whirlwind of blackness that stretched toward him like talons, clawing for his soul. That he summoned the memory of her face, illuminated in that moment of vulnerability. It was a spark of warmth amid the consuming cold. With every ounce of willpower, Eli shouted against the overwhelming tide of darkness, I will not be afraid. The shadows hesitated, as if bewildered by his defiance. The air crackled around him, heavy with unspoken history, secrets thrumming in the ether. He closed his eyes, inhaling deeply and envisioning the family tree again. Names trailed through his mind like a river, Eve, Lilith, Cain. The whispers began to twist into clarity. What were the stories they lived, and what did they want him to know? Suddenly, a bright flash lit up the void, momentarily dispelling the shadows. Eli opened his eyes to see a faint outline forming at the center, the silhouette of a woman, strong and fierce. Eli, she spoke, her voice a melodic echo that held both authority and compassion. I am Lilith, bound to the shadows, but I carry the truth you seek. His breath hitched. This was no siren, this was a powerful spirit rooted deep in the fabric of their family's history. Why are you trapped here? He asked, still grappling with the idea of facing a figure from legend. Because I dared to challenge the order of things, she replied, her gaze piercing through him. But you, Eli, have the chance to redeem that legacy. Embrace the power of choice. Find your strength. Eli felt exhilaration wash over him, mingled with fear. The shadows roared, inching closer, but a glowing thread tied him to Lilith. But what do I need to know? He cried. What is the truth you speak of? Familial bonds run deeper than you realize. Secrets lie between the lines of history, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover them. You must face your past. The image of her began to shimmer, fading like a dying star. Search for those who came before you, and you will find Selah. Eli felt the ground beneath him pulse, and suddenly the shadows lunged, a wave of darkness crashing into him. He struggled to maintain his footing, overwhelmed by the conflicting emotions swirling in his chest. The whispers swelled again, frantic as the shadows clawed at his resolve, but even in chaos, Eli's mind flickered with clarity. Questions burned within him. What did his ancestors want him to know? What legacy awaited him? Thoughts of Selah infused him with hope, igniting a fire. To protect her, to learn the truth, he had to push forward. With renewed determination, Eli called upon that inner strength, focusing on the light within him. I will embrace this legacy, he declared, feeling the shadows recoil slightly in response, yet tucked within him was a lingering fear what awaited him on this journey into the truth. A twist of fate loomed, and Eli sensed it. As the darkness roared, threatening to engulf him once more, Eli asked the haunting question that echoed through the stillness, who were Adam and Eve's daughters? And with that, he plunged deeper into the shadows, racing toward a revelation that felt both terrifying and inevitable. But before the answers could emerge, he stumbled into a new dimension of light, a doorway carved from fear and hope, pulsating with the promise of discovery. What lay beyond that threshold? Would the truth be a weapon or a salvation? Eli stepped through the doorway, his breath catching in his throat as blinding light surged around him. It felt like crossing a boundary not just in space, but in time, into a place where memories lived and breathed. His heart raced, the echoes of shadows still doggedly pursuing him, threatening to pull him back, but he pushed onward. Before him lay a sprawling landscape suffused with luminous hues of gold and silver, a stark contrast to the darkness he had just escaped. The air vibrated with a soft hum, alive with whispers that danced just beyond the edge of comprehension. Eli felt a sense of awakening, like an ancient script being inscribed into his very being. Find them, the voices beckoned, overlapping and chaotic yet somehow harmonious. Names floated to the surface of his mind, fragmented whispers of history, Awan, Loyowa daughters long relegated to silence. The air buzzed, alive with possibilities and threats alike. What do you want me to find? Eli shouted into the light. His voice echoed back, lost in the symphony of the unseen. But he felt it, a pull guiding him deeper into this realm, each step easing the weight on his chest that he rounded a luminous hill and halted. There, beneath a massive tree with sprawling branches like arms raised in supplication, stood three figures. They shimmered like reflections in water under a full moon, ethereal yet unmistakably human. Each one bore a unique aspect of strength, compassion in their eyes, wisdom in their movements. Welcome, Eli, the first woman spoke, her voice like silk, wrapping around him with warmth. We are Awan, Loyowa, and the spirit of Selah guides us here. As she pointed, Eli noticed the shape of the woman he loved rising behind them, intertwined with the essence of those ancient sisters. They knew you would come, Awan continued steadily. Your legacy is intertwined with ours, and you must hear our stories. What stories? Eli's voice trembled with anticipation and dread. What do you need me to understand? Loyowa stepped forward, her presence commanding and gentle. You are at a crossroad, Eli. The truths that bind families can forge bonds or unleash chaos. Your ancestors faced their adversities, just as you must face yours. Eli felt the truth of her words, resonating deep within him. Each step he took into that enchanting light felt heavier yet enlightening. The shadows lurked at the edges of this new realm, lurking, eager for him to stumble. What happened to you? Why are your stories lost? Eli asked, desperation lacing his words. Would he uncover secrets meant to stay buried or unlock wisdom that could save them all? Awan's gaze turned somber. We were silenced by those who feared our power. The echoes of our existence were warped, manipulated. You must remember, every truth you uncover holds the potential to shift the balance between light and darkness in your own life. As Lulua spoke, illusions blurred around them, showcasing moments of pain and resilience, a tragedy here, a fracture there. Eli watched, his heart breaking at the trials they endured. He saw his own struggles reflected in their tales, and it became clear what lay ahead of him. Eli, you must decide, Selah's spirit murmured softly from behind them, her energy intertwining with his. Will you accept this legacy and fight for it, or will you let it fade into darkness? The weight of their gaze pressed upon him. Eli's heart thundered as realization dawned like the breaking of a new day. He understood then that the truth wasn't just a weapon or a shield, it was a living legacy forged through struggle, love, and sacrifice. Just as clarity settled in his chest, shadows rose again, swirling like a storm. They screeched and howled, desperate to reclaim him from this moment of light. Eli felt fear clawing at him, but he firmly grasped the essence of strength pouring from the figures around him. What do I do? Eli cried out, feeling the darkness wrap around him, an insidious grip trying to pull him back. Use your past, Awan urged, her voice strong yet soothing. Draw from the stories we've shared. Become the light that transcends the shadows. With his heart ablaze, Eli prepared to summon every ounce of courage. The silhouettes of his ancestors shimmered like lanterns flickering in the tempest. Each wave of darkness tried to crush him, but he felt his resolve strengthen, but just before he could respond, a blinding flash enveloped him again, leaving him breathless and disoriented. Whispers turned to screams. Had he truly embraced his legacy, or had he crossed a line that once crossed couldn't be undone? As the pulse of shadows inched closer, and uncertainty gripped him like iron, one thought echoed in his mind: what happens if I fail? And there, suspended in the chaos, Eli braced himself for a confrontation that would shift everything he believed. Would the stories of those women save him, or would the shadows consume him entirely? Pain erupted in Eli's chest, a knot of turmoil twisting more with each heartbeat. He felt the shadows closing in, their dark tendrils eager to ensnare him. No. He wouldn't let them take him, not now, not when he was so close. I won't be pulled back. He shouted, the resolve in his voice rising above the cacophony of darkness. Eli concentrated, trying to focus on the shimmering light around him and the strength of Awan, Lulua, and Selah's spirit. He imagined their stories fueling his spirit, igniting his will. The air crackled as the shadows surged forward, malice and despair radiating from them, but Eli stood firm, memories flooding in like a blazing inferno. He recalled moments of strength from his life, victories over fears, his love for Selah, how it had been forged through laughter and tears. Each recollection was a strengthening thread weaving around him, weaving the light that would pierce through the darkness. Eli. A voice, clear and commanding, broke through the chaos. It was Awan, her figure illuminated against the encroaching shadows. You must confront your fears. Fear cannot rule your path. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled. With each tremor, the shadows screamed louder, a chorus of anguish that twisted into the melody of despair. Time seemed to stretch as Eli grasped for answers, each second weighing heavy like lead in his heart. What are you? He cried, facing the swirling mass of darkness. Why do you want to destroy me? You're buried in the lies of the past, a dark voice echoed from within the shadows, curling around him like smoke. Our whispers are truth, Eli. They speak of your failures. You're unworthy of the light. His legs trembled as doubt crept in, clawing at the edges of his mind. Images flashed before him, moments when he had faltered, dreams unfulfilled, people he'd let down. He felt the grip of hopelessness clutching his throat, choking his breath. No. Those are just part of me, they don't define who I am. The words slipped out bitterly, barely more than a plea. Then he thought of Selah, her laughter brightening the darkest days. It grounded him, pulling him back from the edge. He steadied his breath, focusing on the love that anchored him. With each exhale, he pushed against the shadows, envisioning a barrier of light. The luminescence surged, igniting with the essence of each story he learned. He could see flashes of Awan with her boundless courage, Loyoa with her fierce wisdom, and Selah a beacon of hope. Suddenly, the figures stepped forward, merging their light with his. "We are stronger together," they urged. "Let your light be a wall that pushes the shadows away." In an instant, Eli felt an overwhelming surge of energy course through him, the light amplifying, growing, swirling in a swirling vortex around him. "I will not let my past define me," he roared into the tumult, the words gaining momentum as they burst from his soul. The shadows recoiled, shrieking, the darkness splintering and fracturing under the brilliance of his resolve. Eli pushed harder, channeling every ounce of hope and strength and compassion he had, a wave of defiance that crashed down like a tidal wave against the suffocating despair surrounding him, but just when it seemed victory was within grasp, a dark mass reformed at the center, pulsating like a heart engulfed by rage. "You think this is the end?" The voice snarled, reverberating through the very fabric of the realm. "The darkness knows your fears better than you do." Eli faltered for a moment, doubt gnawing at the edges of his courage. Every scar, every past regret whispered poison into his thoughts. Could he truly confront what lay ahead? And then came a rush of wind, cool and cleansing, awakening something buried deep within his spirit. "This isn't over," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. "Not until I'm ready to embrace my truth." Just as he steadied himself to face the depths of his fears, the ground cracked beneath him, and a blinding light erupted around them. Shimmering symbols raced across the sky, a map, a calligraphy of stories intertwining like roots. Eli's heart raced. Was this the key to uncovering the truths of his lineage? The shadows writhed, furious and relentless. "We'll finish this," he vowed, rallying every fiber of his being. "I'll find the truth that can save us all." As the light coalesced into a figure, a silhouette he recognized, he braced himself for whatever lay ahead. The time for confrontation was drawing near as he whispered, "Who are you really?" The figure responded softly, "I am your future, and I hold the answers you seek." And in that moment, Eli felt the past come crashing back, gut-wrenching and raw. Would the truth he discovered save him, or would it unleash a darkness greater than he could ever imagine? Eli inhaled sharply as the shimmering figure coalesced into a familiar visage, Selah. Relief washed over him like a rainstorm on a parched land, but it was quickly overshadowed by clouds of doubt. This wasn't the calm he longed for, it was the moment of reckoning he feared. "Selah. Is it really you?" Her expression was a mix of strength and sorrow, swirling with emotions that danced across her features. "It's me, Eli. But we don't have much time. The shadows, they know you're close to the truth. They're ready to strike. I want to let them take you again," he declared, tightening his fists. The furious whirlwind of darkness continued to swirl just beyond the light's reach, howling like a tempest eager to crush hope once and for all. Selah stepped closer, her presence warming him, banishing fear. "Together, we can face what's to come. You have the power to rewrite our legacy, Eli," she urged, her voice a gentle balm against the chaos. "But it won't be easy." His heart raced. "What do I need to do?" he pressed, desperation clawing at him. Everything he had unearthed, the power, the legacy, turned heavy, pulling him under a wave of responsibility he was certain he wouldn't hold up against. "Embrace your lineage. Learn from it, find strength in the stories of your ancestors," she said, her eyes glittering like stars in an endless sky of night. "This is your moment to define who you are, not what the shadows claim you to be." As the essence of Selah surrounded him, connections surged from the past, memories intertwining into a single thread. Names whispered through the dark, a chorus of voices urging him forward. Eli caught glimpses of the family tree again, each name a reminder of sacrifice, resilience, and the strength that had come from facing insurmountable odds. Suddenly, a deafening roar pierced the air, causing him to flinch as shadows lunged forth, eager to devour the light. "Now, Eli!" Selah shouted, her voice cutting through the din. "Show them what you've become." He focused, centering himself in the storm of chaos. Closing his eyes, he felt the warmth of Selah's essence pulse within him, lifting him out of despair. With each heartbeat, he embraced his fears, the shadow's grip loosening as he tapped into that wellspring of light. "I am more than just a part of the past," he declared, standing his ground as power surged through him, an amalgamation of every truth and story he had fought to uncover. "I will fight for what's right and reclaim our legacy." Light exploded from his core, a radiant blast that sent shadows reeling back, their screams melding into an agonized symphony of defeat. Eli felt the weight of doubt lift, the fears shattering into pieces, scattering like autumn leaves in the wind. "Keep going, Eli," Selah boomed, filled with fervor that flowed into him. "Harness the bond we share, allow every ounce of love and hope to guide you." And with that, Eli surged forward into the depths of the dark realm, empowering all that he discovered, every revelation and sacrifice. The shadows convulsed in terror, recoiling against the light erupting from him. Their roars were now merely echoes of despair, drowning in the chant of his ancestors' names, a chorus of forgotten warriors rising to empower his spirit. "I reject the darkness," he shouted, and as the last vestiges of shadow melted away, a brilliant illumination enveloped him. A surge of clarity broke through, illuminating the path ahead, truth and hope harmonizing as one. Selah stood beside him, fierce and proud, her spirit intertwining with his. They found themselves amidst the swirling light once more, memories flooding Eli's mind, each struggle, every sacrifice, all the choices converging into stunning clarity. He was not just Eli, descendant of Lila, he was part of something greater. Something beautifully flawed, complex and scarred, yet filled with undeniable resilience. "Together, we've faced our fears," Eli whispered, looking into Selah's eyes, finding strength in their depths. "Let us end this," she replied, resolve solid in her tone. They turned to face the vastness filled with echoes of their ancestors, united against the darkness that once threatened to consume all they loved. Eli raised his arms, drawing on the legacy of those before him, the courage of Awan and Lulua, and the fierce light of Selah. "What has been lost will be found. Our past gives us strength," he proclaimed, confident in the knowledge that love and hope would define their story. The shadows recoiled further, howling in desperation, but no longer menacing. They felt more phantom-like, remnants of fears that dared to linger. They had played their role, but Eli and Selah were ready to reclaim what was theirs. A final burst of light erupted, encasing them in a cocoon of warmth as the darkness melted away, vanishing into the ether. As the chaos settled, Eli and Selah stepped back into reality, a forest breathing with life, the night sky overhead sprinkled with stars. The air was electric with quiet beauty, a profound silence intertwined with hope. Eli turned to Selah, feeling the weight of 1,000 stories in his heart, ready to embrace his past while looking forward to the future. "We did it," he breathed, awe enveloping him. Together, Selah confirmed, her grin radiant in the moonlight. They had faced the truth, the shadows, and emerged forever changed, part of a legacy that wouldn't be silenced again. "Let us share our story," Eli said, determination radiating from him. "This is just the beginning." As they stepped into the future, the echoes of their ancestors filled the air, vibrant and alive, their truths finally freed to light the way, and that is how Eli and Selah learned the true power of legacy, not just as a burden, but as a source of strength, guiding them forward through all of life's complexities. They weren't simply the children of Adam and Eve, they were the bearers of stories, powerful enough to change their own world and beyond. So, what about you? Are you ready to face your own darkness and uncover the legacies hidden in your life? Are you ready for the truth? Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to fuel the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this incredible journey. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Join the legacy today.